Bear with me just a few seconds, guys. Just bear with me. Something didn't go right when I was setting up a few minutes ago. But we got this. We got this. Alrighty. 3, 2. What's up, Stoner Nation? Cannabis lifestyle and marijuana tips. Welcome back to the podcast where we elevate minds, celebrate the plant, and explore cannabis culture from every angle. I'm your host, Randy, and today's episode is special because today we are talking about the man who didn't just smoke weed. He transformed cannabis into a global spiritual, cultural, and political symbol. We're talking about the legend, the prophet of rhyme, the king of reggae, Bob Marley. So roll one up, spark something meaningful, because this episode is about one love and one plant. And welcome to all y'all on TikTok. Hey, Kara. Nice to see you again. This is my actual podcast. The other one you were doing was a behind the scenes one of the other of my buddy's podcast. I'm still in his studio, and I'm sorry about how that turned out. I have a lot more experience than him, and he's been crying to me about getting live viewers and having live conversations and getting more people on to make it more interesting. And I finally got that for him. You saw how it turned out. He didn't respond the way I thought he would, despite giving him what he wanted, and I apologize for that. I really do. But that's beside the point. I hope you enjoyed this episode today, because what else is there to do in life and talk about stuff we enjoy as a people? Whether you enjoy smoking or whether you enjoy hating on it, it's still here for us. So, back to what I was saying. Today's episode is all about Bob Marley. Now, we're just going to rewind to rural Jamaica, 1945, to a little place called 9 Mile, St. Ann Parish, Jamaica. And we're going to be focused on a little kid, newborn. And that little kid is going to be none other than Robert Nesta Marley, a.k.a. Bob Marley. Long before he had become a global icon, and back during the colonized history of Jamaica, poverty, political tensions, and deep spirituality, music everywhere. By the time Marley moved to Kingston and forms the Wailers, something bigger than music is forming. In the late 1960s, Marley converts to Rastafarianism, and this is where cannabis becomes central. Now, I thought he founded Rastafarianism. I'm going to double check that. No, he did not. Actually, Rastafarianism, it comes from the 1930s. Alrighty. I learned something new on my research, and I didn't even realize I learned that. Interesting. Now, this is where he gets introduced to cannabis as central of his lifestyle. Because for Rastafarians, as many of us know, cannabis, often called ganja, is not recreational. It is sacramental. And yes, that is 100% true. Marijuana is 100% sacramental to them. It's religious. Like, they're the only religion in the world I know of that can freely hand out weed to other members and not ask for money, but receive donations. I've met Rastafarians in my state. I live in Florida. I've met Rastafarians. If you are in Lakeland, Florida, and if you are in Dade City, Florida, and I'm going to tell you right now, yeah, they're the people to hang with. They are the people to hang with. I can't read your name, but hi there. How you doing? All right. This is actually a lot more fun than my last few podcasts. I'm already saying hi to people. Awesome. All right, but in Rastafarianism, marijuana is used for meditation, for reasoning sessions, which means if they're having a dispute. Yeah, I'll help you, Kyler. I got an account with over, I think, just under 3,000 or just over 2,000. I'll follow you on this one, and then I'll turn around and I'll look you up and I'll follow you on yours, and maybe we'll get trends when those old trends started where you follow everyone who likes your things, and then they all follow you back. That's typically done to help people get followers. So we'll get that going. Yes, it does, Susie. It does help. But for Rastafarians, let's say you're fighting, having an argument, dispute. You spark up. Pass it around. And go about talking. Now, there is actually another practice that happened in history like this. First people, it was Persia. First, the people would get together sober, have a discussion. Then they would get drunk and have the same discussion. Or they would start off drunk and have that discussion. And then if they reached a certain idea and then they got sober, then they would turn around. Oh, thanks for the donut, GCM. Thank you, thank you, thank you. EJ Wells, I don't care if I'm cool or not smoking, all right? I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't care. I'm doing me. And that's all I care about. Love you, though. But yeah, and then they came to the same decision. It was a good idea. And personally, I do believe that we need to get back to that type of practice. And Rastafarianism seems to be on the right track for that one. Just saying. Now, when they smoke, it's not about connecting. It's not about getting high. It's about connecting to Jah or their God. And it was about getting aligned. Which, yeah, it's about getting aligned. Getting your chakras in check. Now, Rastafarians believe that the cannabis is as a holy herb referenced in the Bible. I believe that myself. I do. There are mentioned in the Bible of magical herbs that cure all diseases. And in the Bible it says God created everything. I mean, you can't tell me he just created everything that's good, because then what created the bad? And God exists before everything else, and that means he created bad. Sorry to tell you that, but that's just reality. So, God created marijuana. Now, in the Bible, it says that you are not to smoke it. You are to consume it as food. But later on in the Bible, one of Jesus' apostles later remembers Jesus saying that through him, all things are acceptable, although all things may not be beneficial. So yes, there is religious connection to marijuana in the Bible. In some way, shape, or form, depending on how you perceive it. Now, I'm a reverend. I am ordained, and I'm going to tell you right now, that is how I perceive it. Doesn't make me Rastafarian. It's just blatantly obvious that God created weed. Now, Marley openly smoked, publicly, unapologetically, and spiritually. I do the same. I smoke openly. Hi, Penny. And unapologetically. Anyone's got a problem with my smoking, well, there we go. That's my answer. You're going to get smoked in the face. And for those of you who are watching on Rumble, I am also talking to my people on TikTok. They're more active than y'all. Sorry, guys, but they are. Now, in the 1970s, this was a radical thing. The United States was deep into the drug war on drugs, which that's a joke. Honestly, this is the first time I've gone live on this one on TikTok. Normally, I just talk about the podcast and I talk about the topic and then I end it. I actually kind of like going live on TikTok while I'm doing it because it's more interactive. And I like that. So I think I'm going to start doing that from now on. I also am available on Spotify for this podcast, by the way. But yeah, that's basically what goes on. So I'm gonna get to that. I mean, this is basically informative podcast. I'm trying to expand and get more people involved, talk about topics, expand it a little bit longer than like an hour. Because right now they're typically going from anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. When I don't have people to talk to and expand on the topic or, bring up other topics or stuff like that. Like today's topic is about Bob Marley. And yeah, well, EJ, I'm going to be honest. This is my podcast, my life. I'm not making him watch it. I'm not putting a gun to his head, right? He's thrown though. What's up, Low Joe Fish? Chin. Oh man, I gotta go fishing, but it's raining right now. But yeah, basically this podcast is just informative, keeps you updated on stuff because it's Black History Month. I'm focusing on Bob Marley, and I will get to it. Now, like I was saying, he was born February 6, 1945, during the colonization period of Jamaica on 9 Miles. In Saint Anne Parish. Happy birthday. Now, in 1945, after he left there, he went to Kingston and formed the Whalers. In the late 60s, he converted to Rastafarianism. Now, I honestly thought that Rastafarianism was founded by Bob Marley. I did not know it was founded in 1930. And Rastafarian is based on the belief that God created marijuana, is a blessed herb in the Bible, and that by smoking it, you're connecting to God or Jah. And how Bob Marley just openly smoked and didn't care what anyone had to say. Like I said, no one's forcing people to watch my podcast or my streams. And yes, I do have a torch because I have a nectar collector over here as well with a little bit of home pressed wax. So. Now, back to what I was saying. The United States was still deeply involved in our war on drugs, which is a joke. It's honestly a joke. America's not going to live it. We're not going to win this war on drugs, honestly. Yeah, we're going to knock down some areas, but we're not going to win it. I'm sorry. Just control what we can and, just legalize what we need to. Which, why marijuana needs to be legalized. And, well, here comes Bob Marley, the Jamaican superstar. Lighting spliffs in interviews, smoking backstage, speaking about it calmly and confidently. Nice. Oh, nice that you're in California is the way it is, but Cali? Ow. I'm sorry. I want to go to Cali to save my life. I'm in Florida. Oh, isn't that nice? 6. Report. No, well, come to Florida, bro. Yeah, we're fighting for it right now, but come to Florida. More people that want it legal in Florida and get registered in Florida, the more we get. Yeah, and I try. Oh, yeah. All right, 6. That's your only warning. Now, back to what I was doing. Now, by him doing all that, he normalized it. He reframed it. He didn't argue policy. He embodied peace, and that was powerful. Bob Marley, yeah, you can. I can tell you where to go to get some gator, too. Yes, I can, and what time of year to get it at. Now, he influenced marijuana simply, like, in the most peaceful of ways through music. Like Catch a Fire, Rasta Man Vibration, Exodus, One Love. And they were just manifestos. They weren't just records, guys. Every song Bob Marley did was a manifesto. Now, I would be playing some Bob Marley, but it's copyrighted, so I can't. And trust me, I would really love to be playing some Bob Marley right now. But every time I do, I get flagged. So, I don't want to get demonetized, guys. Don't want to get demonetized. So, I guess no Bob Marley right now. Now, if y'all want to listen to Bob Marley, y'all go ahead and play it on in the background on your own. I unfortunately am unable to until I get done this podcast. And then I can go play some Bob. And I got fat. I got fat in the face. That's just me getting old. Now, when people heard Bob Marley saying about freedom, oppression, unity, spiritually awakening, cannabis was in the atmosphere of that message. It became associated with consciousness, resistance, peace, rebellion against injustice, and global unity. Now, and that's just how cannabis culture shift from underground criminal to countercultural spiritual. And that was a massive shift. I mean, in the 70s, that was massive. I remember the man died in 81 in Miami, Florida. All right. Wow. My home state took a legend. I thank you for the TikTok rose from you, Phil. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, in the 70s, cannabis arrests in the U.S. disproportionately targeted black and brown communities, and that is true. I'm going to be going on into that, in depth into that type of stuff later on in a future episode. I have touched up on it in previous episodes that are available on Spotify and Rumble. I would highly recommend everyone look up the history behind the Marijuana Taxation Act of 1937 and the inspiration and reasoning behind why it was passed. All right. And then think about what I'm about to repeat here. In the 70s, cannabis arrests in the U.S. were disproportionately targeted towards black and brown communities. And then go look up the law and the history behind it. I'll be touching up on that. I was going to do it for Black Friday, Black Month history, but I chose against it. Now, meanwhile, Marley, a black international superstar, was openly consuming and advocating through culture and non-confrontation that busily planted the seeds for change. His global tours exposed son of a Seabiscuit. Well, I think my dogs. Yeah, sorry about that. Jerks, telemarketers. Now, his global tours exposed Europe, Africa, and America to a version of cannabis that wasn't violent or chaotic. It was meditative. Sorry about that. It was musical. It was revolutionary, without aggression. Marley's presence softened public perception in ways politicians never could. Mm. Now, in 1978, Marley performs at the One Love Peace concert in Kingston. Mid political conflict, violence between factions, and on stage, he brings opposing political leaders together and joins their hands. That image, historic. The message, unity. Cannabis culture absorbed that same philosophy. Not just let's get high, but let's get together. It influenced everything from college smoke circles, music festivals, reggae-inspired cannabis brands, the laid-back community-driven vibe of dispensary culture today. Now, without Marley, cannabis branding would look very different. Think about red, gold, and green color schemes, lion imagery, Rastafarian symbolism, reggae playing in dispensaries. Man, I wish dispensaries where I go to had reggae playing, but they don't. The term herb instead of weed. All of that tracks back to Jamaican influences amplified by Marley. Even modern cannabis culture and modern cannabis activism owns something to his normalization. When celebrities today launch cannabis brands, it's almost expected. But in the 70s, that visibility was bold. Marley made it less taboo to associate artistry with marijuana. Well, let's just talk real. Alright, guys, let's be real. Today, cannabis is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It could be worth way more. Honestly, it could. I've touched that up on some previous podcast episodes, talked about it. It's simply incredible, my idea. And I'm running for president in 2028. If anyone wants to vote for me, I would be more than willing to legalize recreational marijuana across all states. And that's going to be my number one focus, honestly. After that, I'll deal with everything based on how the law is written. And I dare someone take me to Supreme Court when I do that one. What the hell? Alrighty, whatever. Back to what I was doing. Now, Marley's relationship with the plant wasn't corporate, it was a spiritual one. There's a difference between consuming for escape and consuming for elevation. He used cannabis to write music, reflect, pray, and reason with others. There is a lesson there for modern smokers. Are you just zoning out or are you tuning in? Honestly, not gonna lie to you guys. There are times where I just smoke just to get my mind off of everything. I guess that's zoning out. But typically, a billion other things are going through my mind. I'm coming up with a billion ideas. So, yeah. Had to make sure I wasn't having a stroke, guys. Now, when Bob Marley passed away in 1981, the image of him, dreadlocks, guitar, spliff, became eternal. His estate later launched Marley Natural Cannabis brand, blending legacy with legalization. Love it or debate it, it shows how deeply intertwined his identity is with cannabis culture. Few artists are permanently linked to the plant, but Bob Marley is, and probably always will be. Now, we're just going to break down what we inherited from Bob Marley. The idea that cannabis enhances creativity, the spiritual smoke session, music plus marijuana as a ritual, the global stoner aesthetic, and cannabis as a peaceful rebellion. From hip hop to jam bands, to festival culture, Marley's ripple effect is everywhere. Artists across genres adopted open cannabis expression because he made it feel fearless. All right, guys. Now it is time for the Stoner Nation Marijuana Lifestyle Tip of the Day. And this is in honor of the spirit of Bob Marley's relationship to cannabis. 1. Smoke with intention. Before lighting up, ask what you want from this session: creativity, calm, or reflection. Pair cannabis with music. Create a full album listening session. No scrolling, just immersion. Try a reasoning circle. Smoke with friends and have a meaningful conversation. No phones. Respect the dosage. Marley smoked heavy, but modern THC levels are much stronger. Know your limits. Learn the roots. Understand Rastafarian culture before adopting symbols of appreciation over approbation. Sorry, I was just thinking about for a second. Thinking this podcast going too fast. No one wants to talk. All right, we also need to acknowledge balance. Cannabis isn't harmless for everyone. Marley's image can romanticize heavy use, but mindful consumption matters. Know your mental health, know your responsibilities, know your environment. Elevate responsibly. Bob Marley didn't lobby Congress. He didn't write legislative bills. He did something more powerful. He shifted culture, and culture shifts policy. Today's legislation spreads worldwide. Today, legalization spreads worldwide. I'm sorry, I got a tongue twister on me. Dispensaries are mainstream. Cannabis conversations are normalized. That didn't happen overnight. It happened because artists like Marley humanized the plant. He showed the world that cannabis users could be spiritual, intelligent, peaceful, revolutionary, loving. And that's his legacy. And that's bigger than smoking. So, Stoner Nation, next time you light up, Think about intention. Think about unity. Think about music. And maybe whisper one love. If you enjoyed this deep dive, follow this podcast on Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere your podcasts are available. And now I'm going to get on to my ad before we wrap this up. This ad is brought to you by Skit Trivia by Henry Berner. You can buy his book at www.amazon.com/Henry Berner it's www.amazon.com/author/Henry Berner, spelled HenryBerner. Also, this was also brought to you by the TikTok shop for the podcast in our group here. I did link one of our shirts in the description. I am planning on changing everything around though, so that's just to let you know it's there. There's something available. Just be patient. But those are gonna become limited edition stuff that I'm going to be re-releasing in the future. I'm just working on my own custom logo for the group. All right. Also, this is brought to you by Rumble Wallet. It's your money. It's your investment. It's your family. It's your security. Why let big banks and corporations and the government have say in what you can do? Where they can freeze your accounts, remove your assets, do whatever they want. Download Rumble Wallet at in the Play Store, App Store, and you can even turn around and buy Tethercoin, Bitcoin. You can have your direct deposit sent there. It's just a bank. That's basically run by you once you make your account. No middlemen. And you can donate straight to your favorite content creators that use Rumble through the Rumble Wallet with no middleman fee. There you go. 3 ads in one. Yippee-doo day. Alright, put this down, because I promised y'all I would have my... Yes, I had a super glue. It broke. I'm very upset. But that's life. Now, like I was saying, if you enjoyed this deep dive, follow the podcast on Spotify, leave a review, and share this episode with your smoke circle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on all podcast servers. Until next time, stay elevated, stay conscious, stay united. And peace.